this is gonna be how I go about it. Got my harp here, I got the widths and tapers that I want. Got a caliper here. I'm gonna go in, we're gonna do this all in millimeters. This is a piece of spring steel. This is 1074 spring steel with a Rockwell of 44. It's .020. I use for my harps, I use .020 and .025. This one we're gonna be making in .020. Now I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna mark on my piece. I like to do about 4.5 centimeters. That's going to be the area I'm allowing for my trigger. Now I may end up cutting some of that off, but I want to have that extra there if I need it. Then I'm going to mark the end of my harp right here. That's going to be where my 4.5 begins. Then right before my embouchure ends, I come in here, I'm coming in 4.5 centimeters as well, or 45 millimeters. I like to work in centimeters and millimeters because everything's in tens. It keeps it simple. Now, if we look at my marks here, they're going to match on my harp where I have it marked here. So where my first mark is, I'm going to take a width measurement. .74 millimeters. I'm going to lock it and I'm going to take a scratch awl and I'm going to transfer that. Make a little teeny scratch on my first mark. I'm basically copying what my harp is, the width and the taper. Then I'm going to go to my second mark I made on here and my second mark on the harp. Take a measurement. I wish I had an expensive caliper. This is just a cheap caliper, but you work with what you got. Here we have 4.29 millimeters. Going with a little bit, this is a little bit longer of a harp, so I'm going to have more width, the backside of my taper. I want it to be a little bit extra springy. The harps I've been making here recently, I've been going super narrow, but this one I'm going back to springiness. I want pop in this harp. Now that I got my two ones marked, I'm going to take my scratch awl, I'm going to just copy that. Put a scratch on there so that I can see, and that will match up exactly with what my harp is here. Let's go over the shear. All right, now I have my shear here. I'm not advertising for Diacro, but this is another Diacro product. Really good quality, American made. I bought it secondhand. It was very, very expensive, even used. But I keep myself a nice little flashlight here so I can see, because here in my shop right now, it's kind of dark. We're going to be moving here in a couple months. We're buying a house, and hopefully I'll have a bigger, better lit shop. I'm aligning that mark that I just made with the edge of my shear bed. I'm going to clamp that down. I'm just going to pull. Now it cut perfectly the width of my trigger, or width of my reed. Perfectly cut. I like this shear because the hold down portion of it comes to like a knife point. It's beveled there so you can hold very, very small pieces of spring steel. Now I've resorted to buying spring steel in a 6-inch wide by 10-foot long pieces. And that is by far, the spring steel is by far the most expensive part of the harp, other than my time. My time, I spend a ton of time on every harp, but also that spring steel, it is not cheap, because do not skimp on your spring steel. You want your spring steel to be good, because it's always flexing. It's always the thing that's going to be under stress.